Restoration with God is not merely a possibility. It is His unwavering promise to those who trust Him. For when years seem lost, opportunities squandered, and seasons wasted, the Lord declares that nothing surrendered into His hands is beyond recovery. Just as a master craftsman takes a broken instrument and not only repairs it, but makes it more beautiful and valuable than before, so does God redeem our lives. For Joel 2 verse 25 says, "So I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has." Eden reminding us that His restoration is always full, never partial, and often greater than what was lost, transforming wasted years into seasons of abundance, peace, and testimony. Where the enemy sought to destroy your harvest, God brings a double portion. Isaiah 61 verse 7. Turning shame into honor and despair into unshakable hope, proving that even when life's prime seems gone, God is not bound by time. And His restoration goes to the root, rebuilding the foundation so the outcome is enduring. As in the life of Joseph, who, though betrayed and imprisoned, was elevated to save nations, showing us that restoration is often tied to a greater calling. Psalm 71 verse 20 assures that He lifts us from the depths. And like the prodigal son, we find that return to Him brings instant reinstatement, not years of probation, because His mercy works faster than human logic can grasp. Jeremiah 30 verse 17 reminds us that He heals wounds and restores honor in the very place of our rejection, sometimes using hidden seasons to prepare us for future strength, teaching endurance, faith, and obedience so that when restoration comes, we steward it with wisdom, walk in accelerated favor, and live with intentional purpose. 1 Peter 5 verse 10. God's restoration heals regret, frees from shame, and shifts identity from victim to victor, proving that what the enemy meant for harm becomes the platform for our testimony. As with Peter, whose deepest failure became his greatest ministry, fulfilling Hosea 6:1's truth that even divine correction ends in healing. His restoration can be sudden, compressing years of growth into a short season, realigning priorities so that restored years are more fruitful than the so-called productive ones, turning tears into joy, Psalm 126 verse 5, and requiring forgiveness to clear the soil of the heart. Yet the beauty of His work is that it does not merely return you to where you were, but launches you into greater blessing, influence, and kingdom impact. Ephesians 3 verse 20, positioning you like the captives of Amos 9 verse 14 who rebuilt and enjoyed their land, shifting you from survival to dominion. Job 42 verse 10, and divinely placing you for the next phase of your calling. In restored years, time is valued. Distractions are avoided, and blessings are stewarded for eternal fruit. As Psalm 23 verse 5 shows that God can make your cup overflow in the presence of enemies, securing your future against every attack. And His restoration carries generational impact, establishing a legacy of faith and abundance that outlasts you, proving that wasted years in His hands are never truly wasted, but are transformed into the very evidence of His glory. For He who is your restorer will complete the work and the joy of. Your latter days will eclipse the sorrows of the past. Restoration with God is not a faint hope or a distant wish. It is His unshakable covenant promise to those who trust Him completely. For in His divine nature He cannot lie. And when years seem irreversibly lost, when precious opportunities feel permanently squandered, when entire seasons appear wasted and beyond recall, the Lord, who holds time in His hands, declares with authority that nothing willingly surrendered to Him is beyond recovery, redemption, and transformation. Picture in your heart the image of a master craftsman receiving a shattered, discarded, worthless instrument that others have deemed beyond repair. Its strings snapped, its frame splintered, its music silenced, and watches the same hands that originally designed it skillfully, patiently, and lovingly restore every crack, replace every missing piece, polish every surface, and finally tune it to produce a sound far richer, deeper, and more beautiful than before. This is exactly how the Lord deals with your life. Though your years may have been marred by pain, detoured by wrong turns, or broken by your own mistakes, He has the infinite skill, absolute authority, and boundless mercy to redeem them entirely, turning what was lost into something that surpasses what you could have ever planned. As He promises in Joel 2, verse 25, "So I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the crawling locust, the consuming locust, and the chewing locust, my great army which I send among you," making it clear that His restoration is not a small token, but a full repayment, an overflowing restoration that recovers more than was taken. And when God restores, He does not just return you to the point where you were before the loss. He adds increase. He gives you more strength, deeper faith, higher purpose, and unshakable joy. Where the enemy thought he had destroyed your harvest, God declares a double portion. Isaiah 61, verse 7. Replacing shame with honor, confusion with rejoicing, emptiness with overflowing joy, and hopelessness with a planted seed of expectation that no storm can uproot. This message is for the weary heart who looks back and wonders if the damage is too deep, for the one who feels that their prime years are gone forever, for the one who measures life by lost seasons rather than future promise. Yet the truth is that God measures time differently, for He is the Alpha and Omega, the one who was and is to. Come, unbound by human calendars, unhindered by the ticking of a clock, unconstrained by the irreversible passing of days. And therefore the moment you turn to Him in faith, the moment your heart yields to His will, He begins to redeem not just your future, but the very years you thought were gone beyond recovery. His restoration is not cosmetic. It is foundational, for He goes to the root of the loss. He addresses the depth of the wound. He rebuilds what was torn down so that what He returns is strong, unshakable, and enduring. In the promise of Isaiah 61, verse 7, "Instead of your shame, you shall have double honor. Everlasting joy shall be yours." We see that His restoration is never a mere one-to-one exchange, but a divine multiplication that surpasses the original. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, stealing time, killing dreams, destroying relationships. But God comes to rewrite your story, as He did for Joseph, who endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment for years, only 2. Be elevated by God to a position of such influence that he not only regained what was lost, but became the Savior of nations, showing us that restoration is often tied to a far greater assignment than we imagined. Psalm 71 verse 20 assures us, "You who have shown me great and severe troubles shall revive me again and bring me up again from the depths of the earth," proving that no depth of loss is too great for revival, no pit too deep for his lifting power. Your failures cannot erase his covenant. Your past cannot bury his plan. For when he lifts you, it is a public display of his faithfulness, even when wasted years were the result of rebellion. As in the parable of the prodigal son, the father's heart runs toward the repentant child, restoring sonship instantly, showing us that God's mercy operates faster than human logic. In Jeremiah 30 verse 17, he promises, "For I will restore health to you and heal you of your wounds." And in that same place of rejection, he grants honor. Some wasted years are hidden preparation, seasons when you feel forgotten, but God is teaching endurance, obedience, and faith, qualities you will need to steward the restoration well. Because when the season shifts, he often accelerates what was delayed, packing more fruitfulness into a short span than you saw in years of striving. 1 Peter 5 verse 10 declares that after you have suffered a while, he will perfect, establish, strengthen, and settle you, which is why true restoration leaves you grounded, anchored, and unshakably at peace. Restoration also heals regret. For if God returned the years but left you chained to shame, it would be incomplete. So he cleanses your conscience, lifts the weight, and fills you with peace so that you can walk freely into the new season. His restoration is purposeful. You are restored into alignment with your calling, not into aimlessness. And often your post-restoration years become more fruitful than all your previous years combined, because God compresses growth, opens doors, and aligns divine opportunities at a supernatural pace. And this restoration is not fragile. For Psalm 23 verse 5 says he prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies and causes your cup to overflow, showing that he blesses you even while opposition remains. It is generational in impact, carrying blessings into your children and their children. Just as Amos 9 verse 14 paints the picture of his people rebuilding waste cities, planting vineyards, and enjoying the fruit of their labor. And Job 42 verse 10 reveals that restoration can come with double blessing. After obedience and forgiveness, teaching us that restoration is a partnership. You walk in alignment. He supplies the increase. Ephesians 3 verse 20 tells us he is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we ask or think, meaning his restoration surpasses imagination. He often uses the very place of your greatest defeat as the stage for your greatest testimony, as with Peter, who, after denying Christ, was restored to leadership and power, fulfilling Hosea 6 verse 1, that even when God allows tearing, his purpose is healing. And so, my friend, know this. In God's hands, wasted years are never wasted. They are transformed into living proof of his redeeming power. They become the foundation for the greatest seasons of your life. And the joy of your latter days will not just match, but will far exceed the sorrow of your past. For the one who restores is faithful to finish what he began. And his promise to you is this: nothing you have surrendered to him is ever truly lost.